Come on. There we go.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go. Easy. Kill. Play.
But that was a taste of what he was supposed to be.
Last year hurts.
Oh, and how this will all work out. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see the first play if they don't know how to get the football to Terrell Owens. This way. Is it his way? Inside the 20. And on the first play of Philadelphia in an Eagle uniform.
What is up, everybody? Trending for Four Corners. We're back live. Last week pre-recorded because I was in Cancun. You really can't tell. I do have a tan, at least a tan for me. My 7 days in Cancun are over. We're back live this week. Got lots to dive into. It's Dallas week, which, it's a special week. But first, I got to introduce my man JC right here at JC Eagles Talk on Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, tagged his YouTube link in the bio of the show. Make sure you check him out. This man is so close to 1,000 subs on Twitter or on YouTube. We got to get him there. This guy's doing great work over there on YouTube. What's up, JC, and welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, I'm happy to be here. It's Dallas week, the most hated week in Philadelphia Eagles history. This is it. I mean, there's no better week than this. Of course, we're going to see them again week 18, but this is the first, so we need to focus on this one. And let's get into it. Dallas sucks, and I agree.
Yeah, man. I think really, though, look, I watched the game last week against the 49ers in Cancun. I watched it on my cell phone, little 3-inch screen here, sitting on the beach with a cold cocktail in my hand, So I haven't really had a chance to really break it down live on air for anybody. I was off Twitter pretty much for 7 days straight. Didn't even live tweet the game or anything. But for us to really get a grip on what this Dallas game is going to be like this week, we have to first look back. And we're going to check out, what went wrong and what positives also we could take from that 49ers game. So I've got a laundry list of things to talk about here. But I want to ask you first, JC, because you've talked about it a bunch of times this week.
Yeah.
Since the game happened. If you had to put your finger on one key reason why the Eagles lost to the 49ers 17-11, what would you put as the number one reason?
We were simply outcoached, period. The play calling was horrific.
Absolutely.
Like from not running the ball a lot with Miles Sanders and Gainwell when it was successful in the first few drives, from not running the ball first and goal from the one with Jalen Hurts with the quarterback sneak, from doing the Philly special.
That was no Philly special, bro. No way you can call that the Philly special.
It was not. It was the silly special, because that's exactly what it was, because that was the silliest play I've ever seen. Like, so all that miscues, and the nail on the head is Nick Sirianni saying, it's my fault. I need to do better in the red zone, because we could have easily, when I mean easily, won this game with the Quest. The first one was the Jalen Reagor out of bounds. He stepped out of bounds, but he never established his foot and back. And that was 10-0 right there.
Yeah.
And then we still had an opportunity the next quarter, in the second quarter, with 7 minutes left. The Quez Watkins 91-yard bomb We got 0 points out of that.
Yeah.
So missed opportunities after missed opportunities. So it was
just outcoached. And I think the outcoached part is something that we can really dive into because, the play calling, obviously it was bad, especially when after that 91-yard play to Quez Watkins not being able to punch it in.
Yeah.
As George says, putting the game away. I saw bad play calling week 1 against the Falcons. There were situations where you could see the rookie mistakes from rookie as in Nick Sirianni as a rookie head coach. But the thing was, the Falcons are a bad team. You can get away with some of those mistakes against a bad team. Mm-hmm. You go up against a better team in the 49ers, and the 49ers are not Super Bowl contenders. They're playoff contenders. Mm-hmm. They're not Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion. They have a really strong defense, but not a top 5 defense. Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Their offense is good, not amazing. Mm-hmm. So, but you can't get away with that. Those play calls on that 4th and goal or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down before 4th and goal even. The rollout to the side there, and multiple times they're only giving Hurts one available option to throw the ball to. It was just a complete mess. You saw that though the week before against the Falcons, in my opinion, but we got away with it. This week, you're not getting away with it.
So, see, the thing is, real quick, even with the Falcons, though, they just put up 25 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
at Tampa. So how bad were their offense, or how good was our defense? Of that game, and we beat them 32-6.
Oh, we're gonna get into that. The defense, in my opinion, so far is carrying this team, and this team it's played good on defense, but not great yet. But this defense is showing me reasons that they could carry this team. Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna get into that because I think the biggest fault when you said coaching, and I say Nick Sirianni showing his rookie play calling has nothing to do with the defense because the defense, while there's issues, and we'll get into them in a minute or two, it's far from – we've only given up, 22 points now? 23 points the entire season?
17,
623. Yeah, I was trying to do the math. I let you do that in your head there.
I
can't do the math.
11 points. Like, we are 4th in points allowed. We are 4th in the league.
Our defense is doing great. They're definitely doing that. But we'll get into that. I want to touch on that Nick Sirianni thing. So I wrote this down, this phrase down, and it's not like a perfectly phrased line or anything here. Is Nick Sirianni playing up to the fans too much? Yes. Wearing the Jalen Hurts shirts, the Allen Iverson jersey, the Philly, the silly Philly, whatever you want to call it, a play that should not have been called there, in a situation you shouldn't have put it in there, poorly designed, all that stuff. Nick Sirianni's showing his rookiness, if that's a word, but on the flip side of the equation, I'm sure he heard the negative talk about him. Not all of us. Some of us liked him from the get-go. Mm-hmm. Some of us liked the hire, wanted to give him an opportunity. But I'm sure he saw that some of the fans weren't on board with the hire. Is he playing too much up to the fans to earn some fans and to earn some cred instead of just going out there and winning football games?
Absolutely. He's playing too much into the fans. And it's funny that you said about the whole Jalen Hurts shirt, and because Brendan Graham came out after that week 1 win and said that Nick Sirianni, in private, told the team how mad he was that the Philadelphia Eagle fans and the media was making fun of him because of his first press conference, looking at him as he was dumb or something like that. So he hears everything that's going on. And this was his first home game. Mm-hmm. He wanted to just come out and please the fans with the whole shirts on the stadium. And just oh man, the Philly special. What better way to get a win, to do the Philly special and succeed. But if you do it, and you failed, God,
now he can't run that play ever.
You can't. You cannot run that play ever again. And I feel like that with us going on the road, he won't have to play to fans.
That's true.
He'll just have to play, hey, we lost last week. Let's gather ourselves and let's go out with hey, let's go out there and prove everybody wrong without the fans. Yes, we're going to have some Philly fans there, but it's not a home game where he don't have to the play calling, like overdo the play calling and stuff like that. So I really feel like that this first week, being at home, nervous and just like, oh my God, I have to do something to make these fans get on my good side. But we was on his good side after week 1.
Exactly. What about Jalen Hurts? There's been a lot of talk. Jalen Hurts, obviously also took a step back this week. Now, first off, let me backtrack for 1 second. I shouldn't say we all. Most of us, I don't want to call us intelligent, but smart fans knew this was not going to be a Super Bowl team. But after we all were conservative, but mid-level. No one thought this was going to be a 12-win team here. But after the Falcons win, all of a sudden, everyone's Eagles this, Eagles that. We're 12 wins now. We're going to the Super Bowl. Now, all of a sudden, all those same people are jumping off the side of the cliff, jumping off the Walt Whitman Bridge right now because the season's over. Look, this season is a long 17-game season. Yes. This season does not matter about wins, losses. This season is about finding out who Jalen Hurts is. Exactly. He is who he is. Finding out who he is. Finding out who Nick Sirianni is. Finding out if Quez Watkins is. This season is a season of learning. Yes. So everybody's got to keep their emotions, as I know it's hard to do, but as level as possible. There's going to be a lot of ups and there's going to be a lot of downs, and more downs than ups probably this year. But after that game, you saw some people start to question Jalen Hurts' arm strength. The Devontae Smith play specifically. Mm-hmm. It was a rough throw there. He did nail the long Quez Watkins throw. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of the equation, I'm more concerned about with the other throws, the shorter throws. There's just not enough zip on them. I think the deep ball is fine. I think some of the other throws are where the issues may come in. What do you think about that topic that has been discussed a lot on social media this week?
Well, there's a couple things. Like, I've seen that play when Jalen Hurts threw that ball to Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. First of all, it wasn't his arm. It was his footing. His foot wasn't set.
I could see that on my little 3-inch phone that is feeding. It wasn't. It was not even not set. It seemed like he was in an awkward position to throw.
Yeah, exactly. So he had enough, but with his foot not being set, and he saw it too late. Mm-hmm. So because the safety fell down, like Devontae Smith was running at least 5 yards open, and then he saw him a little bit too late. He underthrew him. But you can't question his deep throw because he hit Ray with a beautiful throw down the sideline, Quez with a 91-yard bomb. So he could throw deep balls. My concern is this. Is Nick Sirianni protecting Jalen Hurts from throwing in the middle of the field? Because there were no throws the past couple games. I haven't seen no throws in the middle of the field.
He hasn't thrown any balls in the middle of the field. And I'm not sure if it's play calling. And I'm not sure if it's Hurts not comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. Look, again, this is comparing the Falcons game to the 49ers game. The Falcons defense is a bottom 5 defense. Mm-hmm. 49ers is a top 10, 11, 12 defense. Mm-hmm. Better defense, better scheme. DeMarco Ryan, defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I wanted him as an Eagles defensive coordinator. He was my top choice. I think he's got that strong mentality. He really devised a good game plan to slow down what Hurts was doing well in week 1. Mm-hmm. It comes down to the middle of the field. It comes down to your tight ends getting open and your slot wide receiver getting open, which they're not doing. But on the flip side of the equation, Jalen Hurts has to be able to see it if they do. I just think the wide receivers and tight ends in general this week, you could tell they didn't have that quick first step off the line of scrimmage. They weren't getting that separation that we saw against the Falcons. So I don't know if the play calls aren't there across the middle. I just don't know if the players are executing the play across the middle. That's how I'm seeing it. Because the protection is there. The offensive line of the Eagles is giving great protection. I think he's only been sacked once the entire season now. Yeah. Once in week 1 and not at all last week. Well, no, he was sacked by Joey Bosa twice. But, the protection's there. This is not the Carson Wentz getting sacked 16 times, a game, hit 25 times a game. It's a totally different offensive line. So I don't think it's the play calls per se. I think it's the the skilled players winning their battles at the line of scrimmage and not getting open.
Well, they did ask Nick that. There was like, why didn't you throw down the middle a little bit more? Why didn't you throw to your tight ends a little bit more? But he says that he was trying. That was part of the game plan to not throw down the middle, which I don't understand. If any fan with the brain watched the highlights from the Detroit Lions, that tight end caught 13 balls. Hawkinson, he was beasting. Yeah. I felt like that Goddard could have took advantage of their weak middle linebacker core because Greenlaw was out for that game.
Right.
Greenlaw had a pick 6 the previous week, but Greenlaw was out for that game. So why not just attack that linebacker? And then once you start attacking them, then maybe behind them would be open more. I really feel like that he's protecting Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts is not comfortable with throwing down the middle. So all his
I know it's practice. I know it's practice in camp versus real game action. Yeah. But who led the team in targets in training camp and all the joint practices?
Zach Ertz.
Actually, Dallas Goedert led the team, and Zach Ertz was number 2. Yeah. So the top 2 targets in camps and in practices and in preseason, joint practices were your tight ends. Yeah, so there are plays designed there. Maybe Zach Ertz we all got a little hyped over how camp was going for Zach Ertz. Maybe Zach Ertz doesn't have it anymore. I don't know. Dallas Goedert still, in my mind, he's got all the intangibles to be a great tight end, but he still hasn't put together long stretches of success in the NFL, whether it's injuries or disappearing for games. So if Dallas Goedert is a true top 10 tight end in the NFL, Jalen Hurts would be finding him in these games. That's just my opinion. Whether it's the first read, because I got the box score up here.
Yeah.
Okay. Jalen Hurts, 12 of 23 for 190 yards. 91 of them to Quez Watkins on one play.
Exactly.
Miles Sanders had 13 rushes, Kenny G 6, and Jalen Hurts ran the ball 10 times. Most of those 10 rushes for Jalen Hurts were pass plays that broke down and he had to scramble. So there was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 to 30 pass plays compared to 19 to 22 run plays, which that's got to change, in my opinion, for sure. So what you're looking at is about 30 pass plays, and Dallas Goedert had 2 targets for 2 catches. Zach Ertz had 2 targets for 1 catch. So these tight ends are not making any separation or getting open or finding those soft zones. Some of us got hyped that Ertz was okay. Some of us said, let's trade Dallas and keep Zach Ertz. Whatever. Throw me under the bus. It's all good. These guys still have to get open.
Yeah, look.
When Jalen Hurts sprints out or runs out because the play breaks down or the protection breaks down, your top tier weapons adjust to the quarterback and find a soft space in the defense or in the zone, get open, and the quarterback finds them. These guys aren't doing that. So I'm not trying to protect Jalen Hurts here. Jalen Hurts did a lot wrong this week and has a lot to grow from this week. But on the flip side of the equation, the other guys around him also have to do well.
But see, if you look at Hurts scrambling out of pocket, Hurts and Goddard is getting double teamed, or Devonta Smith is getting on double team, and that's how he was able to rush for 81 yards. But the previous game,
okay, so if one of those gets double teamed, then Devonta Smith had 7 targets. He only had 2 catches, but he obviously still
was double teamed the whole game.
Jalen Reagor, 2 catches for 5 yards. Quez Watkins outside the bomb, 1 catch for. So that was 91 yards. I'm trying to do the 1 catch for 25 yards.
Play calling, though? Would you put it on the play calling to get these guys open, though?
It is definitely some on the play calling, which is what I said. It was if you count some of Jalen Hurts' rushes as pass plays that break down, you had about 28, 30 pass plays to about 15 or 20 rush plays. You need much more balance. You have Miles Sanders, who is showing that he's still got a burst there. Kenny G, showing that he could do something there. You've got an offensive line that, even with the Brandon Brooks injury, is playing great so far. And they're built to run block. All 5 guys on this offensive line, they're all guys that like to push forward. Different guys like the pass block. Different guys are more suited to run block. These guys are run blockers. They're maulers. They're push forward guys. But yet you're calling 2-1 pass to run. And it wasn't like we were down 35-0.
Exactly.
The game ended 17-11. This game was winnable into the fourth quarter for sure.
Absolutely.
So that, in my opinion, is a bit of an issue. The play calling run pass ratio is the problem. You run the ball a little bit more. Now all of a sudden, more room opens up for these guys to get open over the middle or downfield.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first game we ran the ball a lot. We ran the ball for like 173, 72 yards. This game combined with Jalen Hurts' 81 yards,
it's 151.
It's about 151. So that's pretty good. But the thing is, I think that Nick tried to get so cute and try to go away from what was working, which was the running game, and try to try to throw the ball more. And now, once you can't throw the ball, and you are one dimension, and now you are stuck right now. And now your play calling is off whack, is off rhythm, and it's hard to get back on track. If you notice, that last drive when we was down by, I think it was 17-3. That last drive, we only took a minute and some change off because it was a hurry up tempo, throw it. Hurts was running 15, 20 yards, because he was free. So why not play that way from the jump? Why not just go that way? Hey, you down a mindset, because if you down, you could just start playing your best. And I feel like that we was playing not to lose that time, and then we got so cute with it and got away from what was working, which was the boring one, which was the running game, which is boring,
Right.
boring, but you was getting results, and we got away from it.
The one so I want before we transition to defense and then get into Dallas, the one positive I will say, and if you have a different positive, you can say it, on the Eagles offense thus far through 2 games, even though we lost this past week, is the number 0. The amount of turnovers the Eagles have so far on offense.
We almost had one.
Almost only counts in horseshoes. It only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Exactly.
That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else
Agreed.
almost doesn't count.
Agree.
No turnovers so far.
Exactly.
So that's a positive. I don't know about you. Do you have a different positive from the offense thus far?
Yes. Our running game. I mean, 173 in the first game, 151 in the first
Over
game.
300 yards in 2 games, 320 yards.
If you average it out, we're in the middle of like 140 per game, which probably put us top 10 rushing team, maybe top 5. But, that's what is working.
All right, so we jumped. I pushed it off for a few seconds. So let's dive into this Eagles defense right now.
Okay.
Again, the big negative from the Eagles defense, no turnover. Just like the offense has no turnovers, the defense has no turnovers.
Yes.
We'll get into that in a second. But let's just say this. So this 49ers team, I know it was against a bad Detroit football team, put 41 points up in week 1. We held them to 17 points.
Okay.
That's not too damn bad, in my opinion.
No, it's not.
I mean, they're getting pressure. They're not getting to the quarterback enough. They're getting the pressure, but they're not actually getting home enough. They're, not giving up a lot of points, but they did give up some long drives to the 49ers, and turnovers would help that. But on the overall, there's a lot to be positive. They cleaned up the sloppy tackling from week 1. Week 1, Eric Wilson, Anthony Harris. I can name a bunch of guys. Missed tackles. It was cleaned up this week. They made some improvement. Jonathan Gannon, since the first half of week 1 against the Falcons, has really the last 6 weeks put together a really good game plan and really good adjustments for what he's got talent-wise on this defense. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I mean, we have the bend don't break mentality, but I don't like the long play drives though. That's what's killing me.
There's 2 of them, right?
Yeah, like we had
one was like 90-some yards.
Yeah, I think our defense, because with the lack of sacks and turnovers, that they are being on the field too long. Even against the Falcons, it was a 15-play drive one time. Against this past team right here, against the 49ers, it was a 9-play drive one time, which end up in scores. Hey, maybe not touchdown, but you still give up scores bend don't break, and then we don't go on those type of long drives.
Yeah, the two touchdown drives for the 49ers. One was 12 plays and 97 yards. The other one was 16 plays and 92 yards.
What kind
the
of
first one was in
that?
4 minutes. That second touchdown drive in the fourth quarter, 8 minutes and 59 seconds of game time. That comes down to getting pressure but not getting home. That's a problem. Not getting turnovers. You know, that bend don't break defense. It's a cliche term, but eventually it breaks occasionally. And that's a problem right there.
Exactly.
Absolutely. At least he makes adjustments, which Schwartz hasn't done, ever in his career. I'm impressed more with Jonathan Gannon at this point than the other coaches on the staff.
But we was getting more sacks, though, with Schwartz at this point than Gannon. And right now we got 3 sacks, and they all came in the first game in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter in the first game. So
I'm gonna bring up a negative here, and that might be Jonathan Gannon's. I'm not sure who's responsible for it. I'm assuming it's Jonathan Gannon. The rotation of the line. We've always talked about how the defensive line and the defensive front, they're always rotating players in. Obviously, Brandon Graham going down early in the game. It's heartbreaking, not just because we want the team to do well and he's important to the team, but he's like one of the top 5 or 6 Eagles of all time in the sense of the emotional leader. He's like that Brian Dawkins emotional leader. The fans gravitate to him, that kind of player, top 5 in that category. But after he went down, you would have thought you would have seen more Josh Sweat, but we didn't. You would have thought you'd seen more Milton Williams. You didn't. We got a lot of Derek Barnett. And that's another one of my big issues on this team right now. Derek Barnett. How many times is this guy going to get a terrible personal foul call, timed personal foul call? It's almost time to start thinking, is Derek Barnett a dirty player?
I wouldn't say
It's tough to say that. I know.
I wouldn't say a dirty player. I'm just saying that he is trying to be that tough guy because he can't do nothing else.
Okay.
Like he had been proving himself because he came out the draft. Oh, he broke Reggie White's set record at Tennessee, and he was going to come to Philadelphia Eagles and bring that same energy. And he's been here. Well, this is his 5th year. And he probably got maybe 12 sacks in 5 years combined, 15 sacks the most combined. So I feel like that he's trying to do everything he can. We need this guy to stay here. No, absolutely. I mean, if I was the Eagles, I would have been traded him for a 3rd round pick and just move on from him and save the cap space.
Yeah, he might.
But
tell me how heartbroken you are about Brandon Graham, because when I saw him, it was really hard for me. So, like, again, watching the phone on the 3-inch screen, it was really hard to hear what the announcers were saying about it and whether it was serious or not. And I wasn't going on Twitter or anything like that. Man, when I saw after the game when Derek Gunn said Achilles injury, done for the year, it literally just broke my heart. And again, not just because of his importance to the success of the defense, just because of who Brandon Graham, the player, and Brandon Graham, the person, is. I mean, it breaks your heart to see that for a guy his level of importance.
Look, there's a reason why when Malcolm Jenkins left, that Brandon Graham and McLeod was those 2 guys. McLeod is not there right now. So Graham was that vocal leader, period. Even Fletcher Cox was like, this is my first time in 5-6 years playing without Brandon Graham next to me. He was getting emotional about it. But what, I was kind of like, damn, man, we lost our emotional leader, not only, our best skilled player on the DN. He could see if the running back is bouncing out and make the running back push out further. But what got me a little bit calmed down was when Brandon Graham came out the next day and said this, look, I may be not on the field, but I will be in that locker room. I will be on the sideline, but I just won't be in uniform on that field. So he could still give that inspirational speech, motivate these guys even more.
Coach.
Like Exactly. Even
He's like a new
now,
coach. It's still disappointing. It just breaks my heart.
It is.
It
But
just
I mean,
does.
I feel like with the Philadelphia Eagles, there's one thing that I always see with the Philadelphia Eagles is the next man up. No team. Yeah, everybody say next man up, next man up. But the Philadelphia Eagles are truly a next man up team. So I feel like with this,
But see, here's the next man up that I expect to see on the field the most wasn't on the field that much. Josh Sweat, you just gave him a 3-year, $40 million extension. You know, he's 24. His per snap count sack number, from last year and even the start of this year is some of the best, in the league. Why not run that kid out there 70% of the snaps? But you didn't do it. And I
just feel like that in the moment, it was all a shock factor. Like
maybe it was.
Like we didn't plan for this, so we're gonna continue with our original rotation. Now since Graham is out, so now we're gonna play freaking Milton Williams or Jackson more than Sweat because Sweat was part of the Graham rotation. So they're trying to keep that's what George.
That's what George is saying. You got to manage his snap counter. You'll get him injured. But I get that. I do get that. Yeah. But I think if you're gonna give him that type of a deal and give him that vote of confidence by giving him that deal, you needed to see him on the field more than you did.
Oh yeah.
You can't have him. He at this point with Graham done for the year, he can't be a low end rotation guy. He's got to be playing. If there's 72 defensive snaps, 70 defensive snaps, he better be out there for 50 of them, 45, 50 of them. He's got to be 50 to 60% of the snaps out there. He's got to be. Yeah. You got to take a chance.
Yeah, look, I agree, but I guarantee you this. Next game, I bet you Sweat is going to be there a lot.
We'll find out. I mean, Monday night's right around the corner. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't keep that throat clear tonight. Man. Yes, I get it, George. I get what you're saying there. I'm just looking at I don't know. It's tough for me to imagine running Kerrigan or some of these other guys out there more than him when you lose him. That's all it comes down to. Even before the Brandon Graham injury, I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more than the Derek Barnetts and the Ryan Kerrigans because, again, you got to use your best players when they're healthy. You do. I know there's injury issues, but 28 snaps out of 70. That's not good. That's not good enough.
Yeah. He was one of the least. I think Williams had more than him. Barnett had more than him. I think a Kerrigan. Pretty much everybody outside the rookies. Yeah, everybody had more than him. Yeah. All right. So again, like I said, we got to temper expectations for this season. It's a long season, a lot of question marks and all. But I want to just remind. I know we're saying how great the points against the defense are. Yes. But I want to continue to say this key word. This Eagles defense is good, but it is not elite or special in any way. We have to understand that when we're going up against top-tier offenses, and this is a good transition into Dallas talk because it is I Hate Dallas week, and we will have some Dallas Cowboys podcasters coming up very shortly here. 40%? Okay. I could even get on board with 40%. I'd like to see at least 50%. But sure, you want to go to 40%. But even I can't do math really quick. 25 or 28 snaps out of 70, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough in my opinion. This defense is good, but not elite or anything special. The lack of turnovers, the lack of sacks and getting home to the quarterback, the long drives, we just have to expect that when we go up against these elite defenses or offenses, starting this week, we got Dallas, we've got KC, we got the Buccaneers, we got some elite offenses. Guys, don't jump off the Walt Whitman Bridge when we give up 40 points to one of these teams in the next couple of weeks. We're not. I don't see it happening.
You're not giving up 40 points?
No, I do not see it happening because I feel like this. If you watch these first two games, we are getting there. The quarterback is barely escaping. If we just grab, if you just push that one arm down from the offense of a guy on the line and grab the quarterback. That's a sack. We are getting there. Like the quarterbacks are literally barely escaping. I feel like if we just get there or blitz once in a while, we could be an elite defense. This defense last year, could you imagine a 12-play drive, a 9-play drive, a 15-play drive, and not end up with a touchdown? Man, we would have been burnt last year.
That was against the Falcons. That was a different team.
Even the 49ers,
I disagree.
Just say a 12-play drive, a 9-play drive, and only give up 17 points on
especially with Ronnie McLeod being out. Okay, we don't know if he's going to be back this week or not.
Yeah, that too.
And we still got Epps, Wallace, Anthony Harris, Eric Wilson. We've got some really mediocre talent. Our front four, even without Brandon Graham, our front four is really stout. Javon Hargrave it's either him or Jordan Mailata having the best season. So, like, they're the two MVPs of this team through 2 weeks.
For sure.
Hargrave is playing outstanding. Yes. Fletcher Cox, it doesn't sound like it in the numbers, but he is playing really well. He is getting pressure up the middle.
Absolutely.
So there is talent on this team. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of the equation, it's not good enough. And I don't know if we're going to give up 40 this week to Dallas. I don't think so. But when we start going up against this the next 5 weeks are just
next week
insane stretch of games.
Next week, the Chiefs.
There's a chance. The Chiefs could easily put up 40 against this defense.
I don't think
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback.
No, I don't think so.
My man checking in on YouTube says, are we going to see a Miles Sanders standout game against Dallas? Obviously, it would make Hurts' life so much easier. Mm-hmm. But I said it earlier in the show. It's up to Nick Sirianni to call more run plays. Get that offensive line doing what they do best, pushing forward, run blocking, run behind, Jordan Mailata, maybe some stretch runs. We used to run that behind Jason Peters all the time. Yeah, we don't really do that yet. I'd love to see it.
And that's why I think, look, it's hard to get a 40 points on the team. It is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the Falcons put up 25 points on the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Cowboys put up 39 points on the Bucks. So it's hard. And the Bucks are supposed to be elite defense? Like,
the Bucks defense is not playing well at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Bucks defense isn't playing well right now. So we got Dallas.
Like
it's Dallas week.
A lot better than the Bucks defense.
It's we hate Dallas. They lost 31-29 against the Buccaneers. They beat the Chargers last week. Close game, 20-17. The refs gave that game away. So they were praying for that right there. No doubt in my mind. So, and they're both teams are 1-1.
Yes.
Can we say this early in the season? And this is taking out of the equation. We've said it 100 times now. This is a learning season for us. But at 1-1, going up against your division rival, who's also 1-1, hypothetically speaking, is this a must-win game for either team or both teams?
Not must-win game for either team.
Okay.
Because I feel like that our division, there's no team that's going to run away with this division. That's
True.
Number one. Number two, let's just say that Dallas lose. They have great talent, and they have an easier schedule than we do.
I asked that question for you, George, because I knew you'd
win.
I knew you'd get. I know you'd say something there.
It's a must-win for the Philadelphia Eagles fans and coaches for a moral victory.
Victory.
Oh my God, man, we just beat the Dallas Cowboys. We went in there
into Dallas Monday Night Football.
Boom! A morale booster. I got it.
Morale booster.
Even if we do lose this game, and we lose against the Chiefs, and let's just say we beat the Panthers and we lose against the Bucks, we're 2-4. The first 6 games were the hardest games on the Philadelphia Eagles.
I had the Eagles going 2-5 through the first 7 games. I had them beating the 49ers, losing to the Panthers, and those other games around them.
Yeah.
So, but I still had them winning. I think it was 9 wins because that first 7 games, that 5-game stretch there. Because I did say before the season, watch out for the Carolina Panthers. If Sam Darnold plays okay, which he is doing, It's a sneaky good team right there, coached by Matt Rule, our man there. So back to the Cowboys. I said before the season, the question was, is Dak back? And if Dak's back, the Cowboys are a dangerous team. If Dak's not back, then they're not a good team. I've seen enough in 2 weeks to think that Dak is back, in my opinion.
Well, Dak is.
I'll get it to you in just 1 second, brother.
If Dak is back, but their defense is not that great. As I say, look, the Dallas Cowboys are 31 in pass defense. There's 32 teams in the league. They are 27th overall in defense. So, I mean, how good are the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely.
This past game was shocking to me that they were so balanced. Rely heavy on the run. But I don't think it's going to be like that every game because if Dak is making $75 million, Jerry Jones is the coach, the GM, the CEO, and he wants to air the ball out. Mm-hmm. And their team is not built to try to go back and forth because of their defense. So Dak is back. He's been playing remarkable. He's getting the ball out fast. But what defense have they faced, though, that really could get in their face? And Dak have not been – he's been sacked like one time, I believe, because
I wrote down some of their stats from the earlier games, but not that I didn't go that detailed in them. Look, I think it's going to come down to our defense being able to stop their wide receivers because George is saying it right now. How's Hurts going to match up in a shootout? Hurts and the Eagles, if this game – if Dallas scores 30 – we lose this game.
Oh, yeah.
We're not good enough to put up. We put up 32 against the Falcons, but that was the Falcons. That was a terrible team. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there is no way we could compete regularly or long-term in a game at that kind of – there's no way possible. But if our cornerbacks could shut down CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, shut them down, keep them out of the end zone, can we keep Dallas to 27 and stay competitive in this game?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess.
I think we can. I really think we can because I feel like that this is going to be the best defense that they face. The Buccaneers were strong up front.
And then, Mike, I did send you that link just so you know.
So the Buccaneers was strong up front, right? But no sack on Dak, maybe one. But their secondary was all hurt. Mm-hmm. Seriously. So our team, and then the Chargers. They're strong up front, but they're secondary. But I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are strong up front. We've been getting to the quarterback. We just need to grab the shirt and sack him. If we only could, just grab the shirt of the quarterback and sack him, our secondary is this whole different secondary. I promise you, it's totally different from last year, and we are going to be a lot better. Yes, we are a young team with new defense coordinator, offensive coordinator. So it's going to take a couple games because these guys did not play together in the preseason.
So this I don't know, JC. Are you a gambling guy? Do you bet football games?
Absolutely.
All right. So before I make predictions or really, one of the first things I look at when I'm breaking down a game is the line because you can learn a lot about the game by the line. And the Dallas, they're only a 4-point favorite over the Eagles. So -4 is the line. Okay. So for those that don't gamble, that are watching the show, the way bookies and bookmakers set lines is the first thing they do is they start whoever the home team is at -3. Yeah. And then they adjust it from there. So they're saying on a neutral field that Dallas is a 1-point better team than the Eagles. So I think that kind of makes you think about it a little bit. I do think they have the over-under set at 51.5. I think that's a mistake because I don't think that the Eagles can win or be in a shootout like that to get that 51. And that's just tough to see. But I think that -4 tells you that bookies think there's a chance that the Eagles are going to keep this close. That bookies think that, that there's a really, really strong chance, in this game. So we got the first of our other Dallas guests jumping in here. Let's bring him to the screen here. If I got this right, this is my man, Mike Crum. Mike Crum. You had to wear the Urban Fryer on the show. Mike Crum is from Across the Cowboys Podcast, when I Google, so I typed in this morning on Google, Cowboys Podcast. That's it. The first podcast that popped up was your podcast. So welcome to the show. This is your first time on DSM Media. Introduce yourself to the Philadelphia Eagles fan base here.
What's going on, guys? Man, you have to hate me because I'm a Dallas fan. I'm wearing the jersey. But I'm not bad. I'm a nice guy. I'm a cool follower. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'll argue with you all day. So it's fun. It's all love.
Yeah, hey, I've had Cowboys guys on my shows before. I like to keep it very, very, very easy going. We're not going to hate each other. You know what I mean? We're going to talk friendly. We're going to say the Eagles are going to win. You're going to agree, but that's about it right there, right?
Yeah, I'm nervous about some of the matchups. How much have you guys talked about it being the home opener, though, and Dak's first game back from injury? We just started talking about the Cowboys about 10 minutes ago, so we haven't talked about that yet. So, actually, let me ask you about that. So, how are you feeling? Because I said, I don't know if you caught this part before you checked in. I said this year dependent. I couldn't grade the Eagles, Cowboys. Is Dak healthy or not? Is Dak back, in your opinion? Dak looks incredible. Like, he is killing. We haven't seen him air like a 50-yard bomb out. He hasn't – the defenses he's faced hasn't really they haven't had the time to develop that kind of thing, and I don't think Eagles with their defensive line is going to give us time to do that either. So we haven't seen him air it out deep. His longest pass was about 37 yards in the air to Cooper. I believe it was like his first pass of the year. So we don't know about that, but, man, he looks efficient. Is the correct word.
Yeah, I mean, he looked great in week 1 against Tampa. But, last week it wasn't quite the dominating performance against the Chargers. So, I actually – we just made that the first question right off the bat just because we were just talking about it. Home opener and all that. But the first question I wrote down for you, and I know your partner Paul is going to be joining us shortly here. Zeke Pollard. Seems to be like on the outside. A little JC is laughing about that. A little dynamic there. Is Zeke? I got bashed on Twitter last week because I brought up the whole Tampa Bay, the goal line stop that Adams had, from Tampa Bay game against Zeke, and that Zeke lost a step maybe, and isn't that same bruiser that he used to be. Is there really a dynamic there where he's losing some confidence in the coaching staff there to Tony Pollard?
What most people would say is we hate the contract because you don't pay running backs, regardless of where you draft them, how good they are. But Dak Prescott doesn't survive the Tampa game if Zeke isn't blocking. And I know that's not the first thing you want out of your running back, but when you have a quarterback like Dak Prescott, you want to keep him safe. So he earns every bit of money for me just on that. Now, running, you got to tell me, I know through the first 2 games, Eagles have played, I've been watching the all 22, and they play a lot of 2 deep safety, and they don't blitz often. So that would tell me Pollard is going to get a lot of snaps because he has the speed to get past the other team's front sevens on sweeps and stuff if you're going to play your safeties back. I believe the Eagles are going to start bringing the blitz this game. I think they're going to switch up their defense to trick Dallas. I think it's a really smart move, and I think they're going to start off thinking Pollard's going to get more carries, but end up needing to use Zeke more.
The big thing with that stance is pretty spot on. It's Rodney McLeod is back because we've been running some pretty weak safeties out there because Rodney McLeod's still not back from his season-ending injury last year. And there is a chance he's been practicing. There's a really good chance he may be back, and that changes the whole scheme, big time defensively there. But yeah, I mean, I just look at the numbers for Zeke: 11 for 33, 16 of 71. There's just no. I don't know. I think he got paid, and he just doesn't seem to have that same fire, that same I want to eat more kind of mentality. And that's not because I'm an Eagles fan. That's because I'm a fantasy football fan too. I stayed as far away from him as I could in fantasy football this year in the first round. I did too. There was no way I was taking him in a first round unless it was like with the 12th pick or something.
Yeah, the thing about Zeke is his style of running is very O-line dependent, and Dallas doesn't have the O-line that they used to. Now, Tyron's fine, and Zach Martin, when he's healthy, is fine, but Lyle is out now with his suspension. And the middle guys aren't Frederick and Ron Leary, where they were pushing guys around.
Yeah.
So the agility game works better for them, and that's why Pollard, like last game, if you told me, Zeke had 16 carries, he had 70-something yards, it was a 4.4-yard average, and a touchdown. Great. The way Dak typically throws, that sounds about right. But it was a running game. Dak didn't throw the ball. He was 23 for 27. Yeah. So Pollard averaging 8 yards a rush on 13 rushes because they were running that sweep versus 2 safety. He's going to get a lot of run in certain matchups. This coaching staff is not Jason Garrett. Depending on who they played the Bucs first week. They didn't even try to run. They said their weakness is secondary. We're going to throw it on them. They played the Chargers, who played 2 safeties back. They ran the ball more than they threw it. So it's going to be matchup dependent.
Okay. So was that the case also week 1 versus week 2 with the wide receivers and the targets? Because we all know Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, they're both amazing wide receivers. Week 1, I'm looking more at targets versus receptions. 17 to 15 in the targets week 1. Week 2, it was 19. I think I wrote down 19 to 5. CeeDee Lamb to Cooper. So there's a big discrepancy. From week 1 to week 2 there.
Yeah, and the reason is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played aggressive to stop the run. They brought guys up. Staley, who's the Rams defensive coordinator last year, who took over for the Chargers, he's a player safeties back, and he wants you to try to drive the ball down the field. And then if you can score on them in the red zone, then good for you, but we don't think you can. Right. So the reason that the targets were different is because they were running more. They had much less possessions. Both teams had really long drives. The Chargers' last 5 drives were all double-digit plays. Okay. That's tough to deal with. So with the run game and the less possessions for Dallas, it drops the targets a lot because you only have so many times to have the ball.
And also real quick, didn't Cooper come into this game hurt with his ribs too, with the bruised ribs?
Yes.
Yeah, he came at the end of the Tampa Bay game. He fell on the ball and hurt his ribs. So he was playing with sore ribs. And then you saw him he wasn't really touched. He just landed wrong and hurt him again. I think he'll play, but it's going to be one where he's probably going to miss plays in and out because they're tender, just how it is.
JC, how do you see the Eagles defending those 2 wide receivers? Do you see them just each, Nelson and Darius Slay staying on one side of the field and whoever goes there? Or do you think Slay guards CD the whole game and vice versa with Nelson on Cooper? Or do you see them doing Jonathan Gannon going a different way?
Well, I would want to see Slay on CD, honest truth, because he's the biggest threat, especially with Cooper, having some tender ribs and stuff like that. So I feel like that you might put Nelson on him, give him some help on the inside, because I feel like that Cooper, his best route is the slant. It's coming in and I'm catching a quick slant and taking off and breaking tackles. So I feel like with that being said, that I want big play Slay on CeeDee Lamb, because if we could contain CeeDee Lamb like we did Ridley, I mean, we'll be fine. And also with the running game and stuff like that. Look, I hear you, but the Philadelphia Eagles has always been a good run stop defense, and we hardly ever blitz. It's just because our front 4 pushes that offensive line into the quarterback lap so fast where it changes everything, which give our linebackers this year. And we do have some fast linebackers this year with a Singleton and Eric Wilson and, Edwards. So that give them a chance to make the tackles, maybe a 5-yard gain, boom. Even Elijah Mitchell. That was my biggest concern going into the 49ers game, because he gashed the Detroit Lions and he was barely, I barely heard his name besides he got hurt, So I'm thinking that if we stop CeeDee Lamb and minimize the damage with him and control the running game, that we'll be fine. But I do want big play Slay on CeeDee Lamb. Okay. You got that name for
he locked down Cooper last year. Kept Cooper out of the end zone. So real quick, Mike, I brought this up to JC before you joined the show, and I know I got joking around with George and some other people here in the comment sections about it. Can this be considered this early in the season? Two division rivals, two teams that have different expectations for this season.
Yeah.
Can it be considered must win for either team? Most specifically for Dallas, in your opinion, can you consider it? JC says it's not a must win for either team.
It's a must win for Dallas because if you're going to be contenders in the playoffs, you better not lose to a sorry team like the Eagles.
Oh, you had to use that phrase right there like that. You want to start some trouble, is what you're saying.
No, I'm a big component of it's 17 weeks, man. I wasn't tripping on the Tampa loss. I honestly thought we'd lose the first two games going into the year. I thought Chargers and Tampa
should have. Y'all should have.
Yeah, they really. I mean, they were a play away from beating Tampa and a play away from losing to the Chargers. They could easily be 1-1 and it be completely flipped on its head on who we won and who we lost to. So it's just too early. 17 games. Our division is always there's going to be one team that everybody thought sucked. That all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, they came out of nowhere and are really good. So no, it's too early for me to be a must win.
I like to pose questions to get debates going here, and George saying it's must win for Dallas because they always want to win a Super Bowl or contending for a Super Bowl. I could see that aspect of it. The Eagles fans are had a different thing. We all had controlled expectations for this year. It's a learning season for the Eagles. If we win games, great. If we don't, as long as we're learning something. But after the beating Atlanta week 1. All of a sudden everybody's opinion changed because we smoked them. It was an easy win. But then after that, losing to the 49ers the way we did, everybody's jumping off the Walt Whitman Bridge, burning their flags and whatnot because it's over now. I just keep telling people it's a 17-game season. Temper expectations, even for the Cowboys. I don't know what it's like as a Cowboys fan, but as an outsider looking, I didn't see a lot of people picking the Cowboys to win 12 games or anything like that. Saw a lot of 9-win, 8-win, 10-win predictions for Cowboys. So if you're predicting a season that's 9-8, you got to be realistically realize this team, your team, the Eagles team, they're not great. They have issues and holes still.
Yeah, the way we look at it is if we're getting in, it's because of our division. If you stuck us in the NFC, either of us two teams in the NFC West, how would we contend with those type of teams?
No.
You know what I mean? I think our offense can keep up with anybody, but our defense, has a lot of work to do. It just all kinds of work to do. So, I'm not one of those fans. You got to let a year develop. I like Dak, but am I like crazy enough to go, oh, we compete with Kansas City and Tampa right now? No, I'm not in that boat.
I mean, there hasn't been a repeat division winner in the NFC East for a really long time.
03-04, the Philadelphia Eagles.
If it's not going to be Washington, who in my opinion is the best team in the division, well, before the injury to Ryan Fitzpatrick, Giants, it's not going to be the Giants. I don't know about you guys, but I still think the Giants are the worst team in the division.
Yeah,
and one of the worst teams in football, period. And that's not my fandom speaking. That's just me having zero faith in Joe Judge and zero faith in Danny Dimes.
Keep going. We know the offensive coordinator. You know who
yeah. And he's not even that coach, and he's causing problems down there. People are speaking out against him. That boy, we could have a whole show of me asking a Cowboys podcaster about Jason Garrett, because I wasn't a podcaster back in the Garrett era. I could ask you 300 questions there easily.
We could spend the whole time shitting on Jason Garrett, and I would have an amazing time. The fact that he was so bad that Tony Romo was a really good quarterback, and he had really bad teams, and he had a really, really, really bad head coach. Yep. And the fact that he never even got a chance to be in a situation where he could be a contender just irritates the hell out of me, because you have Eli Manning, who sucked for 45 years of a career and won 2 Super Bowls, and because they both were against the Patriots, will be in the Hall of Fame.
No, he won't.
Dude,
he probably will be in the Hall of Fame. He shouldn't, but he probably will be.
Last name, and he beat the 17-0 New England. They're going to stick him in there.
And he won one MVP in the Super Bowl as well, right? He did have one MVP, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
he doesn't belong, but he's going to get
his
in.
Quarterbacks get the MVP nods if they're mediocre quarterbacks.
His touchdown interception ratio.
That don't matter.
And leading the league in interception 4 times. All that comes to effect.
We agree. We all agree. I'm talking about the
Cowboys fans and Eagles fans agreeing live on the air right now.
Yes. About how bad the Giants are.
Yeah, it's not how bad the Eagles or the Cowboys are.
A quick question.
No, jump in.
Mike McCarthy, how confident are you in Mike McCarthy with the time management and able to come down with crunch situations?
I'm going to say this. I am definitely in the minority here. I'll bet there he is.
Yeah.
I will bet you Paul even disagrees with me. I'm in the minority. I'm actually a fan of Mike McCarthy. Time management stuff, I'm used to Garrett, so I haven't had good time management. And I don't even remember when. I've been a Cowboys fan for 35 years. So, I don't mind that. I like the way he looks at analytics. I like when he says stuff. I don't know how much he uses it, but the fact that he knows it makes me go, okay, good. That means they're looking at like GPS. How much fatigue is he putting on his players? Like what area of the season should you put so much time on your rookies? Like just things like that make me happy that my head coach is saying it. Now we got to go on and see how often, like he lets the special teams coach do some shit. And I'm like, you got to say no once in a while, my man. My goodness, it's 4th and 20. We let that cook. We don't need you trying to block a punt. We're all right. Our guy has scored 2 touchdowns and thrown 1 sail interception. That's the only way they had stopped us at that point. So, what's up, Paul?
Yeah, we got Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan.
What's up, guys?
Isn't that like a name of like a U.S. congressman or something like that, or someone famous? I don't know. Paul Ryan. Mike's co-host at Across the Cowboys Podcast.
No.
Thank you guys both so much for coming on.
Phil,
thank you for having me, man. I appreciate that, brother.
Right now, Paul Ryan is the host.
Okay.
The host. I'm just the extra. He does all the work. I do all the talking.
And Mike's the brains of the operation. Don't let him fool you guys.
Okay. So is there tension in this podcast? I love it. Cowboys are already falling apart at the seams. All because of this podcast right here.
Better condition than the Eagles ever will be.
So real quick before we talked a little bit about the offense, but real quick, Paul, if you want to jump in on what Mike was saying there about McCarthy as the head coach.
No, I mean, I like McCarthy just because of what we saw last year with the team, dealing with the injuries that we saw. I don't think a Jason Garrett-led team would have been able to do that and kept the team focused and engaged and playing hard. I know that Jason Garrett has kind of, shown that in the past, but I just don't think that he would have had the team perform the way that they did last year, dealing with all the adversity. And, I don't think that our offense would ever be what it is if Jason Garrett was still there, because we saw what happened in 2019.
I see the wins, but I'm going to tell you something, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm like, JC just putting some numbers and fingers up there on the screen.
They won 6 games in a season where they didn't have either starting offensive tackle. They lost their best offensive player in Zach Martin half the year. Their 3rd offensive tackle missed half the year. Their quarterback missed 2/3 of the year. And they had the worst defense in the NFL. And they won 6 games and were a game from the playoffs. Like, I was shocked that people were like, McCarthy sucks. I'm like, dude, this team should have won like a game. They had Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. They had Terrence Steele and Brandon Knight, a guy who's a guard now.
You can't throw Dalton's name out there. You have Ben DiNucci. He's named after like an Italian hoagie down the street.
Ben DiNucci almost beat y'all, JC.
Almost. Again, I already told JC early in the show that almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. That's it. All right. So almost doesn't mean. George, before you segued well into the defense. I was about to dive into the defense. But George wants to know which one of you is Zeke and which one of you is Tony Pollard.
Oh, man. I think
he's Zeke.
You think I'm Zeke, man?
You're doing all the – listen, I talk all the time. Yeah. I talk 85% of the podcast. He does literally everything else. Literally. Guest. He got us on this. He does everything. Everybody that knows us knows he does all the work, and I just yap. So he's definitely Pollard. I'm the extra. I'm Rico Dowd.
Hey, without all of the yapping, Mike, that'd be a pretty sad show.
Oh, man. All right, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys defense, okay? Obviously some injuries, but, the first name that jumps to me with the Cowboys defense is the guy that my number one choice in the NFL draft this past year, Micah Parsons. I loved Micah Parsons' game at Penn State. A previous network that I worked with, we had LeVar Arrington on, okay, as a guest. And we got to interview him.
Oh, wow.
And we asked him to give us insight because, a Penn Stater, insight into his game. And the first thing that he said is that he's not saying he's going to be this guy, but on paper in his college film,
Don't tell me JT.
Ray Lewis with more speed.
Oh, Lord.
That was
LeVar Arrington said that?
LeVar Arrington said that about Micah Parsons. Ray Lewis with more speed and athleticism. There was no hesitation in that, it's not like, let me think about it.
Yeah.
He's like, he reminds me of Ray Lewis. And I was that was like way early in the draft process. And I'm like, I'm sold. I want this guy on the Eagles. And I'm super happy we got Devontae Smith. He was my number one wide receiver in the draft. And I know the Eagles' philosophy is drafting wide receivers and offense always early. But what are your guys' thoughts, Paul? Micah Parsons, has he impressed you guys yet?
Well, let me, before I share my thoughts, JC, I saw you were shaking your head when Phil was talking about Micah Parsons. Can we get your thoughts on your pre-draft analysis on Parsons and were you wanting him to be an Eagle?
Yeah, I think he's more of a Von Miller type than a Ray Lewis because a Ray Lewis was strictly because he's like a Ray Lewis was a thumper. He'll come through that line and meet you in the backfield. But Micah Parsons, to me, I'm a big Penn State fan. I've been Penn State fan my whole life, so I've seen linebackers that come out. But Micah Parsons, to me, is more of a Von Miller, more of a smooth operator, bend over the edge, get to the quarterback. But a Ray Lewis is more of a LeVar Arrington, to me, is compared to a Ray Lewis and Micah Parsons. So
no offense, JC. I approve of LeVar Arrington's, No offense. His analysis might be a little bit better than ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a good possibility, I think. Yeah, so back to your question, Phil. I think my thoughts on Micah Parsons were, my co-host here, he's not a big fan of off-ball linebackers, and shout out to Dan Rupert there on Twitter. They both disliked Micah Parsons quite a bit just because of the position that he played. But then when you hear about that he hasn't been playing linebacker for that long, and really it's strictly all potential on what he could be, those can be tricky picks. So when Dallas took him, seeing the players still there about, thinking about Rashawn Slater adding to this offensive line with guys like Tyron and Lyle Collins, we saw what happened there. I didn't like the pick at first, but then when you start to hear the discussion in offseason, then you see on Hard Knocks, and all of a sudden you see in preseason and how he's being utilized now in the regular season. I mean, I don't think I would want anybody else right now.
Yeah. Mike?
He's been amazing. I going into it didn't want Parsons. I'm not an off-ball linebacker guy. We already got Jalen Smith. We already got LVE. Neal is a first-round pick safety who's playing linebacker. I'm like, how many linebackers do you need? I wanted to trade back with the Bears and use the quarterback thing to get some picks. Woo, boy, do I look silly once you see him play edge. If you'd have told me we were getting the best pass rusher in the draft, I'd have been like, oh, hell yeah, draft him at 10. Now that I've seen him rush the passer and I kind of get the idea with the bigger alignment that they're going with when he moves, because I think he's got to play linebacker versus you guy. He's got to spy Jalen Hurts. We don't need him on an edge. He runs around the corner and Jalen Hurts gets outside the pocket and runs. I don't need that. Right. But I love the pick now. He's been nothing but impressive. I actually think he's like a LeVar Arrington. That's my comp to him is LeVar Arrington.
So then as a whole then, we already said it, your defense was awful last year. Where at the eye test, not the stats, not the analytics, the eye test, how is the defense? I know you guys have had some injuries and it's early. Where is the defense right now compared to last year.
For me, it's definitely exceeded my expectations, and even with the play of Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis, our secondary still isn't looking as bad as it did last year. And then you think about the addition of Micah Parsons and how Leighton Vander Esch is playing early in the season, and then the pieces we added on the defensive line, and thinking about getting Neville Gallimore back and seeing Osia Ezeki-Dubois, how he's performing early in the season. I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, Mike?
Yeah. The defense for me right now is very turnover reliant. They get the ball moved on them very well, and then it becomes, can they stop them in the red zone, or can they get a turnover to stop the offense? Now, they have also faced the best quarterback of all time, and Justin Herbert, the best young quarterback. Maybe is that saying too much? In his last 3 years, I'd say he's the best out of the groups. So they faced some really good quarterbacks. They're obviously better than last year, just because they can stop a guy from running 8 yards a carry. But I'm still – these young guys need time. I'll be interested to see where they are in Week 12, Week 13, when Osa and Parsons and Bossman Fat, Kelvin Joseph, when they get some more snaps and time to build, to learn the game. I want to see where they are then.
My only thing with y'all defenses, it seemed like y'all switched spots, because last year y'all were the worst run stopping defense, and this year y'all kind of like the worst pass stopping defense. And also with the two quarterbacks that y'all faced, none of them were a dual threat quarterback. You had to game plan forward that could run outside the pocket. So this is going to be like overall, y'all face the goal, a young passing quarterback, and not a mobile quarterback, a dual threat quarterback. Now, this is about to put y'all defense as a whole where y'all actually at when y'all face all those three combined the first 3 weeks.
Question. Dual threat, doesn't the quarterback have to be able to throw, though?
Here we go.
He can run, but, I mean, Jalen Hurts
this is going to be a civil conversation.
Well, there's a reason y'all front office don't want him. I'm going to be serious right now with you guys. Right
we can
now,
have this conversation.
you know what you have in Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
You have 3 first-round picks next year. You want Jalen Hurts, or you want him to package up to get – let's just say you do. I know. Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
2 first.
That's relying on Carson Wentz playing. So.
Not going to play. Okay, you have 2 first and a second. You package those up to go up and get whatever quarterback you want, or Jalen Hurts, but you got to do it now. This is the gods are telling you, I can guarantee you the first pick, or you keep your 2 firsts and your second, but you got to keep Jalen Hurts. What you doing?
I mean, if I had to make that decision right now, I'm trading up to the first pick, because Jalen Hurts hasn't proven anything yet. And just mind you, let me tell you something. I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. I followed his career from Alabama to Oklahoma. I thought he was getting that 3rd roundish grade. I thought he had about, in my opinion, a 2nd round grade, because I saw talent there. He still hasn't proven himself. So if you could get the number 1 overall pick and pick the best quarterback in the draft, why not?
But he's already done more than the number overall pick.
And go get one of these other veteran quarterbacks that are stars that won out of their city,
Phil. But Jalen's already done more than the number 1 overall pick, and you even look at Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's struggling. I think Jalen
Trevor Lawrence.
Personally, I think he's like somebody you can build around. JC, I think you agree, right?
Me and him have this argument
a lot.
He is a Hurts guy. I got to be honest with you guys. I think you guys can beat us with Jalen Hurts because of the matchup that we have. I think your offensive line can whoop up on our defensive line. I think you can run on us. I really think it's a bad matchup. Overall, I don't think y'all Hurts is not the one. Hurts is he can run a high school offense, but the minute y'all try to get and a high school offense that can beat us, that can beat our matchup, but against anybody that comes in like the Niners that has any type of skill defensively, he just can't throw.
I'm going to let JC go here because I know he's got some things to say.
Just real quick. Do you know that the first 2 weeks that PFF got Jalen Hurts the 2nd best quarterback?
PFF.
Wait.
I'm going to end this right now.
I hear you.
I'm going to end this right now. PFF has Anthony Brown rated 10 to 15 points higher than Trayvon Diggs so far this year.
Okay.
That's what PFF has. If you've watched any Dallas Cowboys this year, you understand that Trayvon Diggs is the only guy we have back there, and that Anthony Brown gets picked on every pass, and they have him rated 15 points
And
higher.
the reason why I say this is because a PFF have Jalen Hurts, the 40th ranked quarterback coming into the season. How the hell? There's 32 teams in the league, and he's number 40. And over the first couple of weeks, like in the first couple of weeks, they're actually seeing what Jalen Hurts is capable of. His deep ball is dead accurate.
His deep ball is nice.
So his
And
deep ball is
you're
nice. And that's why this week he led the league and yards per distance this week.
He led the league in yards per distance this week because he had 191-yard pass, out of 190 yards receiving. Look, the Jalen Hurts talk is centered more around the Nick Sirianni talk, in my opinion. Is Nick Sirianni a head coach? Because we were talking before you guys joined the show that last week versus the week before, that was one little snippet, okay? One little snippet, okay?
Sorry.
Nick Sirianni isn't calling plays. He's calling plays two ways: conservatively to protect Jalen Hurts, but also, we talked about it on social media and on this show. Nick Sirianni's playing up to the Eagles fans because of this and all the negative publicity he got when he first came to town. He's wearing Allen Iverson shirts to practice. He's going to press conferences and Jalen Hurts' face on his, shirt. Calling a Philly special, when it's not needed. He's playing up to the fans way too much. And the Sirianni question is tied to the Hurts question, but you can't really get a judge on Jalen Hurts if Nick Sirianni is calling poor plays.
Very true.
Yeah,
all right.
Very true.
Getting really late. So what we're going to do here, I always like to have three keys to the game. So all three of you are my guests. We'll start with JC. I'm going to go Eagles first because you Cowboys are in second right now.
Hey, we're always in first place.
Yeah, Eagles are always in first place in my mind. You each get one key to the game for the Eagles or Cowboys to win. JC, what's the number one key in your mind for an Eagles victory?
We need to stop Dak Prescott. Like, if you cut the head off the snake, then nobody else matters. And that was the same key my game with Matt Ryan and Jimmy G. We did not stop Jimmy G with the quarterback sneak, and he beat us. It wasn't Debo. It wasn't Kittle. It was the quarterback stupid sneak with Jimmy G. And Matt Ryan, we stopped him. Pitts didn't do nothing. Ridley didn't do nothing. Kittles didn't do nothing. Debo Samuels didn't do nothing. It's just we need to stop Dak Prescott. I feel like if we make them just one dimension, we stop Dak and try to control the run, the Philadelphia Eagles will win.
All right, Mike.
Red zone. The team that does better in the red zone, that's the team that's going to win. I think both offenses move decently well versus the defensive matchup that they have. And whoever can get in the red zone, I think that's going to be the difference in the game.
For me, Mike, you mentioned it earlier. I think it's going to be turnovers. The Eagles have 0 turnovers in back-to-back games this year. I think whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game.
But they also have 0 turnovers on offense as well, the Eagles.
Exactly.
So it's kind of going, but I actually like all three of your, keys to the game. I think they're all really smart. Dak Prescott, you shut him down.
Yeah.
We win the game. The red zone, that's where Jalen, I'm sure you guys, Dallas saw after the 91-yard pass to Quez Watkins, the 4, not just 3, the 4 terrible play calls from first and third, first and goal from the third, the second, the fourth, and the Philly special. It was just atrocious. We punched that in there with smart play calling. We might be 2-0 right now. And same thing with Dallas. That red zone one, I might even lean that one more than any of them on both sides of the ball. And then the turnovers again. How long can an Eagles team go or any football team go with no turnovers on either side of the ball? I can't remember an Eagles team that's been 0 on both sides, even 2 weeks into the season.
Mm-hmm.
My man Scotty checking in saying he agrees with his turnovers. That's the key for him as
Scotty.
well. Yeah, Scotty's my man over at TSN Media right there. All right, so guys, Dallas is a 4-point favorite. Me and JC opened the show up with that. Dallas 4-point favorite. You always get 3 points as the home team. Does that tell you guys as Dallas fans anything about your team or this game? Knowing that, before the season, probably everyone had this as an easy Dallas win.
Yeah.
But you would think that line then would be a little bit higher.
Right, because last week against the Chargers, the line was at 3.5. So that indicates to me that they think this is going to be a close game, and I would agree.
Yeah. Mike,
I think when you look at it, the teams know that the Eagles are going to be able to run on us, and they know that defensive line is really strong, where Dallas is really weak at offensive line. A lot of teams wish they had a Connor Williams. We're kind of spoiled by Zach Martin and Tyron and Lyle Collins, that people are like, oh, this average guy sucks, where a lot of teams like, we wish we had the average guy. But an average guy versus Cox and Hargrave is tough. So the matchup is hard on Dallas. I think the big boys, the bettors, know that in the trenches, we're not as good. We're better on the outside, and it's hard to win football games that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you got to pick the – I don't know. If you guys want to save predictions for your own shows or whatnot, JC, have you made a prediction yet for this game, a final score prediction?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that it's going to be a close game all throughout. And I feel like with one turnover, man, it's going – whoever turned the ball over first.
Don't do it.
And I feel like it's going to be 27-24. Eagles.
For who? Eagles? Okay. All right.
No. It's
No.
He don't even believe that.
What you mean?
He doesn't believe that. I hear it in your voice.
I do.
Hear it in your voice, man.
I do. I promise you. I believe it with all my heart that whoever turned the ball over one time, because that's how close it's going to be, it's going to be a close game.
All right. Mike?
Go ahead, Paul. Oh, I got first.
Yeah.
I think just like when I first came on, the thing about it being a home opener and Dak's first game back, I think at some point they're going to be playing it up. Dallas is going to turn. It's not just Philly Dallas rivalry. It's home opener and Dak's first game back.
Right.
And so I just think they're going to I don't like the matchup. Out of 10 times, I think this could easily go 5-5 or 6-4 Eagles. Okay. I just don't like how they match up with us, but I think they hit it at the wrong time, being the home opener and Dak's first game back. So I'm going to go Dallas 28-17.
28-17. That's a pretty wide margin victory, though. Paul, where are you sitting at with that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what Mike thinks. He makes some valid points there. This is going to be a big game for at this point in the season. But I think it's going to be 31-24 Dallas. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. And like JC said, whoever wins that turnover battle, I think is going to win this game.
So it's my prediction to tie this up here. So first off, before I say my prediction, I wrote down a score before every show. I have a pretty good idea of the score, in my opinion, but sometimes I don't really know who's going to win. So I write down the score, which I wrote down the score already. Okay. Before I say that, we already said it's a 4-point line. It's a really, really low line, but the over-under is 51.5. And I never bet Eagles game. It's against my religion to bet the Eagles because then your money's on the line. You guys might have the same rule with Dallas games. You don't bet Dallas games. If I was going to bet an Eagles game, I would hammer the under 51.5 super quickly. I think it's going to be low scoring. I wrote down before the show 21-17, but I didn't write down who was going to win. I got to say who's going to win. That's my job, to predict it. People tune in to see it. Adam must not be watching. Adam, I hope you're watching still. I need to hear your prediction. Adam, one of my followers, literally last year, he nailed the exact score of like 8 Eagles games to a T. He predicted literally 8. I need to know his prediction, but he might not be watching still. It's probably past his bedtime. So I'm going to, unfortunately, JC, I'm going to say Dallas 21-17 as my final score because I just don't have the confidence in the Eagles offense to score 3 or more touchdowns. And I think the Eagles need to score 3 or more touchdowns to win this game. And I just don't think they could do it. So I'm leaning towards that Dallas 21-17 as my final score. Hey, so again, we're going to wrap this up. I got one final quick segment. I don't know, but I know I sent Paul and Mike this. I don't know if I said it to JC or not. But this is Paul and Mike from Across the Cowboys Pod. I love this during Eagles and Cowboys and Washington and Dallas Giants weeks. Big rivals. We've been rivals my whole life. I'm 40 years old, almost 41. I got so many great memories from Eagles Cowboys games. And I'd love to get the three of you. We'll start with Paul, and then we'll go up Mike and then JC. JC, I'll give you a minute to think about it. Your favorite memory of an Eagles Cowboys game.
I'm ready.
JC, if you're ready, you can go first because I was thinking about this all day, and here we are, and I'm still deciding between two. So let me let these guys talk. And
I actually have two favorite memories. One's a good one, one's a bad one, and one's from each side. So, JC, what's your favorite Eagles-Cowboys memory?
So I remember right before the tip-off of the Cowboys-Eagles at Philly for the division was on the line. Tony Romo was there, T.O. and Barber, and they came to Philly all for the marbles, and we blew them out.
Was it 44-6?
It was, yes. It was that game because it was – this is it. You know you win, you in, and they just came out flat. And the way the game turned out was like turnovers. Romo was getting turnovers. Like Tiki it was a Rondé Barber was getting B-Dog was fumble like a fumble. Return pick sixes. I mean, it was just a beautiful because it's all for the marbles, and that was it. And my last one was Dak Prescott at home. I think it was on Thanksgiving, right? In 2017, the year that we won the Super Bowl, we went into Dallas, and it was like 10-10 at halftime. That second half, we just blew it, blew the doors out the door. Dak Prescott was in the back end of what's going on. Barton, Graham strip sack. Bradham picked up the fumble, ran for a touchdown. It was just blowouts, man. This is what I remember, blowouts.
All right.
The Nick Foles Super Bowl.
What's that?
Well, it was against Dallas, though. It's Dallas. And y'all ain't been in the Super Bowl, so I mean, I can't pick y'all. So I can't pick that game.
All right.
Go ahead,
Paul. Yeah, Paul, you ready?
I'm still not ready, so Mike, you're gonna have to go.
Mike, you're up.
All right.
If you're still not ready, then I'll go too after that. So, I mean, my followers know my two. They always do, but I'll let you guys go.
I'm gonna give one memory. It's gonna sound weird about a favorite because it's a really sad memory, but it's just the memory that always sticks out to me. It's the Michael Irvin.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. We were tired.
This is CeeDee Lamb, but Michael Irvin's my favorite football player of all time. His head landing, and then back then people cheering, and it's funny because the reason it is my favorite is I've gone online and gotten on Twitter. I have a lot of I do have a lot of Eagles followers. Like they do follow, and I talk to them on Twitter a lot. There's even some we're friendly with, within our banter. And to a T, all of them are like, man, Michael Irvin's the GOAT. It's a bummer that happened. Nobody in there thought that guy's career was ending at that time. And they, Eagle fans get such a rep for that, the Santa thing, and they get such a bad rep for it. I'm like, you have to remember when his head hit, nobody thought he was never going to play again. It was a respect.
Absolutely.
We were saying, thank God Michael Irvin's gone because this guy is a killer. We don't want him on there.
I have more respect for you now knowing that you just said that the Eagles fans get a bad rap because it's 2 or 3 drunk guys at the vet in the 60s and 80s, booing because they're overly drunk, and everyone wants to talk about Santa and the jail at the vet. And it's literally such a small percentage of a football fan base. And that I respect you even more now that you said that because that's it's something I've traveled the world for work before, and every place I go, you say, oh, you're from Philadelphia? Oh, you booed Santa Claus. Or you cheered Michael Irvin. Literally, they're the first 2 things out of every person from anywhere in the world that I've gone says to me. And it breaks my heart when that's what my city is known for.
I don't do like that. I think it sucks that Brandon Graham got hurt and that Brooks got hurt. I had somebody on Twitter was doing an injury wish list, and it was like all their rivals play. I don't want that at all. They're human beings, dude. I want to
let you know who that was. Send me that message because I'll call them out for that one.
I'll look for it on there. It was a disgusting thing. Yeah. I don't want any injuries. I want them all healthy. I want to beat them healthy. But when Irvin went down, the people that did boo didn't know he was out forever. They were respecting, thank goodness this amazing player's gone. and we would have probably cheered if one of your great guys went out. I can't think of any you guys really had, but I'm sure there was one great player in your guys. Reggie White, there's the one, right?
Randall Cunningham in '93 blew out his ACL very early in the season. That was a season we were planning on. That team was set for a Super Bowl run. Blew out his ACL really early in the season. I mean, something like that,
Yep. And you cheer at it like, thank God we don't have to deal with them anymore.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that it's a weird favorite memory, but it's the memory that sticks.
No, Paul, are you ready, or do I need to go first?
No. I finally thought about it. So, JC, you talked about the game where y'all beat us to go to the playoffs. How about the year that we beat y'all in the playoffs and eliminated y'all from the playoffs? With
y'all beat us back-to-back weeks, actually.
Yeah. That was hard to imagine. Yeah, you beat us back-to-back weeks there that year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So you guys look a little older. JC's a little baby, I think, So you might not remember both of mine, okay? There's so many great. The pickle game, the pickle juice game, it's a great one and all. But so if you're a really good old-timer, not old-timer, early 90s, mid-90s, if I say the term 4th and 1 times 2, do you guys as Cowboys fans know what I mean?
Oh, man, I should know this.
JC, do you know what 4th and 1 times 2? Come on, you guys.
I'm hoping
you guys.
I know the
4th and 1 late in the fourth quarter. Okay, you guys handed the ball off to Emmitt Smith. Willie Thomas, outside linebacker of the Eagles, stopped him. But the refs, of course, because the refs always, cater to the Cowboys, said, "Oh no, you got that timeout in time," even though it's clearly a late timeout. So you guys got the ball back, and I forget it was Jimmy Johnson or Barry Switzer at that time, ran the exact same play on 4th and 1 again, and we stopped you from Willie Thomas stopping Emmitt Smith again. So that's my favorite memory, because I remember I was a sophomore in high school or a freshman in high school. I was in school doing work at the school on a Sunday. We stopped Emmitt Smith, one of the greatest running backs of all time, 2 plays in a row on 4th and 1.
I remember something about that. I remember that we were winning a Super Bowl, so why would we care about that?
Well, that was one of our bad down years, and that was like one of the brightest moments from that year. My second favorite memory, and I don't even know why it's a memory, but it's a memory because it's when I first started to really, go from like a 6-year-old fan of sports to like a young kid that's starting to understand the sports. There was a Halloween game against the Eagles and the Cowboys. It was rainy, and Emmitt Smith rushed for 2,397 yards. It felt like that game. I think it was literally over 200 yards, and you guys smoked us that game. But that game, all of a sudden, a light bulb went off my head as a fan that I can learn and appreciate the greatness of other teams' talent. And after that game, my dad gave me this lesson. He's like, in your lifetime, there may be in all sports like 3 all-time greats. Like at my age, I was lucky enough to see Brady and Jordan play. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no matter whether you like them or not, or cheer for them or not, you have to appreciate greatness. And Emmitt Smith in my lifetime is probably one of, if not one of the top 2 greatest running backs in my lifetime. And that game there is where that light bulb switched for me. So I forgot the score. You guys won like 33-10. It was a rainy night. It was an awful game, but it was one of my favorite memories right there as a kid growing up.
Phil, I thought you were going to mention the Halloween night game where Donovan McNabb scrambled for like 8 seconds and then.
I
can talk about that if you want.
No, I'm good. No need.
That was a Monday night game. Monday night game.
Yeah.
I thought my previous intro video, not the one I had tonight, my previous one had that in the highlight clip. Just so
okay, that's cool.
All right, everybody. This has been another one of those hour-and-a-half long trending for 4 quarters here on DSM Media. I've got my man JC from JC Eagles Talk. Let's get this guy. He is literally like 80 subscribers away from 1,000 on YouTube. This is a big goal for this guy. He only started like 6. I've been doing this 2 years. I've only got 375 or 380. This guy's been going less than a year now. So close to 1K. I want to get my man there. He deserves it.
I got you, JC.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's get this man there. So JC, thank you for coming on. I've been on your show before. This is, it's always good doing this with you.
Sure.
And these 2 guys here, Paul Ryan and Mike Crum. Is it Crum?
Crum, yeah.
It is Mike Crum. let's make sure we follow them. They seem like really good guys. I mean, it was a civil conversation, civil-ish. Across the Cowboys Pod, ATB Cowboys Pod on Twitter. Paul is at Paul_Ryan15, and Mike is CD Piglet. Yeah, you gotta explain it. What's
Nice and easy, baby.
CD Piglet.
what is CD Piglet?
Wait, let me see CD Piglet.
I'm a video game player, and
Okay.
when I was real young, I had Cisco is my best friend. Darrell is my other best friend back when I was a kid. That's the C and the D. Piglet's my little brother. That's his nickname. So CD Piglet is a gamer tag from forever ago, and now it's certified on Twitter. How crazy is that?
That's
Hey.
right there. There you go.
That's
You
my
got a blue
buddy.
check mark. You're like,
I got you.
You're like real big time now. Getting a guy with a blue check mark on this show.
That's a verified pig.
Yeah, I like that. All right, everybody. We'll be back, obviously, tomorrow night. DFS, no pun intended, for the Daily Fantasy Football Show right here at 9 p.m. We got our post-game live show Monday night, 9 p.m., right after the game, after that Eagles big win over the Dallas Cowboys, hopefully.
Yes.
Make sure you're all tuned in. So, JC, we're going to go Birds, because that's what Eagles fans do. What do Cowboys fans do when they sign off? Do you have like I say, go Birds, Don't
Go
you have
Birds.
something?
We go no COVID list. Please, God. Please, nobody else.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, thank you all very much for joining the show. Thank you all for
Bravo.
watching on all social media platforms. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Y'all have a good
Appreciate
night.
y'all.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.